Hey guys, welcome to another episode, the second episode of the Funhouse podcast. Thanks for joining me. It is just me today on this episode, and I just wanted to do a few things in this episode where we're going to kind of update on some of the things we talked about in the first episode of the Funhouse podcast. If you recall, we were talking about the Super Mario Brothers movie, and it made over $156 million when we originally had did the first podcast. Of course, it's been updated. If you've been keeping up with the Mario movie, it has already made $500 million, and I'm pretty sure already over that. Could it hit the $1 billion mark? That is an interesting question. Could it hit $1 billion, the Super Mario Brothers movie? And is that a good thing or a bad thing for video games? Not really the video game side of it, but more of the movie side of it, because you would think Hollywood is going to see what else can we put out there movie-wise. You know, if Mario hits $1 billion or very, very close to it, which I think it could probably hit $1 billion, what's that going to, how's that going to affect the gaming industry? You know, I mean, beloved characters like Sonic, of course, which the Sonic movies have already been out and they've done really well. I enjoyed both movies. There is the third one coming out. Also, other things to think about is what movies would Hollywood actually look at to want to do movies based on. You know, you would think good and bad. I mean, would they want to do a Spyro the Dragon movie? And if they did, how would that look? Would it be, it would be pretty cool as a live action, I think, but of course animated is what you would think. But would it be smart to do it? Because Hollywood has the, they have the bad reputation of ruining movies, especially movies based on video games or comic books or what have you. So it would be just one of those things I was thinking about as I'm doing this podcast is Spyro the Dragon. Would that make sense? Some other movies, Crash Bandicoot. Would Crash Bandicoot be a movie worth making? You know, I mean, if you played Crash Bandicoot, it is a fun character, but could you really spin a movie around Crash Bandicoot? This is some things I'm just kind of contemplating in my head. Other movies I was kind of thinking of, it would be interesting to see a Contra movie. I would love to see a Contra movie. I know growing up, a lot of people would have wanted to see Contra back then, because who would have been the perfect Contra characters, but none other than Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. Because if you look at the cover of these Contra art box, or the art on the original NES box, you would clearly know and could tell and easily could see that they were the big action heroes of the time, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. But also the creature in between them would be the aliens. So that would be an interesting concept, I think. But given the fact that Arnold and Sly are up there in age, would they still want to, if they did a movie? Not saying it's in the works or anything like that. None of these ideas in this podcast episode are in the works that I know of. Just things I was popped in my head, and I said, let's talk about this in the podcast. Let me know in the comments what you think as well. Could any of these be movies like Mario? I know some people, majority of people I talk to like the Mario movie. I like the Mario movie. My wife thought it was pretty good. She didn't think it was great, but she thought it was good. So I haven't really heard many of people saying it was bad. Of course, a lot of people didn't like the voice of Mario with Chris Pratt. Sorry. But all in all, that was a good movie. So I was thinking that was like some Super Contra would be another one, even though it is Contra, but still, would that be good as well? Other movies, let me know in the comments as you're hearing this or watching this, what would be some games that you would like to see? I would actually like to see, now that I'm thinking about it, Ninja Gaiden, whatever. I think that would be an interesting movie, whether it be live action or animated. I would love to see a Ninja Gaiden live action. I think that would be really cool. You could pick any of the game settings. I would probably say the original one, because the game idea of it, the story wasn't very, very complicated. You probably could do an easy movie off of that, and that's one I was thinking would be really good. What about Wario? Could you do a Wario movie? There's speculation that Wario could be popping up in the sequel of the Mario Brothers. There's plenty of movies or games, that you could make movies on, but would you? I don't know. honestly. I don't really know if that's a good idea. There's a lot of games that could be made into movies, but would you want to see those made into movies? Because again, how would the story change for a lot of movies? That if they were taking the game adaptation of them and kind of sticking to it, kind of like you saw with The Last of Us, they stuck really close to the gameplay of the first game. And with season two, I believe they're going to do season two and season three and kind of split the second Last of Us into two. And there's other games I'm wondering, could they do movies on, like Hello Neighbor? If you've ever played that one, it's more the newer ones. But could that be something that they could turn into a movie? I mean, it is what it is. I don't know. I mean, a lot of the stories for a lot of games are really good. I think a lot of them are really good. Zelda is another one that has been talked about a lot. Could Zelda be coming up soon? Could Metroid be coming soon down the line? Kirby. How would you do a Kirby movie? Who knows? I know one that's I've read a lot of articles on that I'm really interested to see is Smash Bros. Could a Smash Bros. Movie be on the way? I know that there's a lot of talk of Donkey Kong coming because there was a lot to do in the Mario movie with the Donkey Kongs and the Kongs. So could Donkey Kong be coming soon? Who knows? Maybe they'll do a Centipede game. Yeah, I don't think that would work. What's some other games that could work? Final Fantasy, which they have done animated movies on that, and they did so-so. They did okay. Mortal Kombat had some hit and misses. If you remember the original releases of Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 back in the 90s, the first one was pretty good. The second one was a little, yeah. It was fun to see characters. Always fun to see the characters, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. Street Fighter was another one when Jean-Claude Van Damme was in that one. That one was, I remember seeing that in the movie theater as a kid, and I was like, yeah. It wasn't horrible, but wasn't good. There is talks of Street Fighter being remade into a movie again. I think they could get that right. That shouldn't be too difficult, but then again, who knows? Just things that were popping in my head. Let me know in the comments, guys, while we're chatting. What are some games you think could be good movies, rather animated or live action, and which one? Both? Maybe one? Of course, it'd probably have to be one or the other. Let me know in the comments on that, which movies you would think could be a hit for games. God, there were so many in my head I was thinking, and as I'm doing this right here, right now, like I said, no edits as we talk on the podcast. It is what it is. So what you get is no edits. So yeah, I'm stumped. But other than that, another thing I wanted to talk about, moving on from games to movies, the retro gaming community and cons like Comic Cons and any kind of the festivals, conventions that you go to, whether it's gaming conventions, toy conventions, comic conventions. And one thing I've noticed, and if you've noticed, at least in my area where I'm at, guys, I go to a lot of the conventions, cons, what have you. And we just went to one today as I'm recording this, and it was called the Arlington Comic Fest. I was really impressed with it. It was the first time I've been to it. They hold it in a building area that's more of a recreational center type thing, I believe. But it was a great spot. The place was full, a lot of people, a lot of cosplayers, a lot of great booths. I mean, you had artists, you had a few celebrities there, you had some voice actors as well. I believe there was 2 gaming booths that were selling retro to modern games. I saw some of a lot of the vendors that create their own products, whether they 3D print them or what have you, but it's, gaming characters or anime characters, what have you like that. There was some guy that was selling shirts with, famous movie quotes, what have you. I'm wearing a shirt of this is a reprint of a band that I grew up really enjoying in the 80s, Dawkins. But it was a lot of fun. It's a really fun event. There's a lot of local artists that have comics out. There were a lot of comic booth vendors out there. So it was making me wonder, it's really interesting. I like the idea that gaming, comics, toys, cosplay, what have you, are all starting to come together a lot more in conventions that you see. I mean, I really like the fact that you can go to a convention or a gaming event or whatever, a toy show, and you'll see a little bit of everything. Went to one of the newer toy events that's once a month. in my area as well, and they have a lot of vendors that sell the Hot Wheel cars that's really popular. Also, they're selling, of course, the retro toys from the 70s, 80s, 90s to now. Seen some gaming booth vendors out there. Of course, a lot of Funko Pops. I'm not a big Funko Pop collector. Nothing against it. I do have maybe 3 or 4 that were given to me during Christmas time, and it's mainly characters I really enjoy. There are a few that I'm looking for that I'd like to have, and but other than that, it's really fun to see that the community is really coming together more. You're seeing more and more gaming communities with like for instance Pokemon card gaming, and what is it, D&D, and God, what are the other ones? I don't play a lot of the card games, but a lot of the retro gaming stores in my area are picking up on it and selling it, hosting events for the community of people that do that. And that's really fun to see, because I really think that in the scheme of things, in the end, I mean, whether it's retro gaming, modern gaming, comics, toy collectors, I mean, pop collectors, whatever it may be, anime, cosplay, card players, Pokemon and all that stuff, Yu-Gi-Oh, and yeah. Anyways, it's fun to see, like the event that we went to today, the fact that there was different booths with different things, but it was all basically one community. That's one thing I really enjoyed, because anybody and everybody can go. It brings in more people, and they had a really good showing of people. It was a big crowd, a lot of fun. Stay tuned for that video. It's in the works as we speak, because as this video is going on with the podcast, we were filming for the first time. We took 2 of our younger boys to see how they did in a smaller setting compared to some of the really big ones. And yeah, I think they're not ready yet. Let me know if you've ever brought children, kids, relatives to any kind of event. Other things I was wondering is, how crazy is the game collecting getting? That's going to be something we're going to talk about soon, possibly in the next episode of the Funhouse podcast. We're going to talk about retro gaming and how is it going for me, for others, for the community. Pricing, collecting, is it worth it? Is it not worth it? Is it fun? Is it not fun? We'll go into that in the 3rd episode of the podcast. We'll kind of talk some fun things. But that was just about it, guys. I just wanted to take a few minutes just to talk about games and movies. Hollywood, is it worth it? Because Hollywood will try and make a movie out of any game that is a hit or is a fan favorite among collectors and game lovers. So until next time, guys, thanks for listening to the Funhouse podcast. We'll see you next time. Join the Funhouse, Retro Funhouse.